Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Ryan. I'm here representing RunRepeat, and I'm here to tell you all about the Nike Zoom Pegasus Turbo. So the Nike Pegasus is a shoe that's been around. I think they're up to 36 right now, if I'm not mistaken. So the Pegasus is a shoe that's been around for 30 plus years. With that said, this Pegasus Turbo is pretty much a take on like a racer. And it's a lot of the things that work about the Pegasus for a lot of people, but it's lighter, it's bouncier. It's using the ZoomX foam, which is the same exact foam that they use in the 4% Vaporfly. So it's really their top end foam. When I first tried these on at the running store that I worked at over the summer, it was one of those situations where I was like, all right, I need to get a pair of these. How can I get my hands on a pair of these? With that said, at $180 for the price point, this is a very expensive shoe. For me as a teacher and a coach, $180 is certainly out of the price range for what I would consider to be a daily trainer. So this is a shoe that I've really reserved for racing. You can see it doesn't have a ton of wear on the bottom yet. You will see that the foam is starting to break down. These probably have about a little more than 100 miles on them. You can see the foam is starting to crack just a little bit. So I do have some concerns with the long-term durability of a shoe like this. I would say I'd probably expect to get about 250 miles out of this before I would feel like the foam was starting to officially die out on me. And again, that is how I usually tell if a shoe is ready to be replaced. I'll look at the foam and see the cracks in the foam well before, at least for me, well before my rubber starts to wear on the bottom. There are a couple things that really work about this shoe for me and that make it really the most comfortable racing shoe that I've ever worn. Let me tell you about a couple of those things. I think the first one that really jumps out to me is this very simple but effective lacing system. Essentially, I've got these 4 eyelets on each side that lace the shoe. And I find that this creates a really, really nice snug fit throughout the upper. What they're using here is essentially called, I believe they're calling this their fly mesh upper is what they call this now. Extremely light. Really wraps the foot, really hugs the foot. One word of caution I do have for people, if you've never worn Nikes before, Nikes are typically more narrow than other running shoes. And when I say narrow, I'm talking about like this way. Like some people will feel like their foot is wider than the footbed allows. That's probably the number one concern I hear from most people that try Nikes on. It's either a love it or hate it kind of fit. Like some people, if your foot's a little more narrow, you're gonna try Nike on and be like, wow, this just feels fast. For other people, they literally feel like their foot is edging over the footbed. In that case, it's just not a shoe that works for those people. The toe box here is not roomy, but it's not tight either. It's like right in that kind of that middle ground, I would say. It's certainly not the tightest toe box that I've run in. With that said, there's not a ton of room, especially for the big toe. I find for me, there's a little bit less room on this side. That's another thing you want to be concerned about. If you're looking for a shoe that has a ton of toe box room, the Nike Pegasus Turbo is not that shoe. With that said, this is a shoe that you're really going to like if you've run in Nikes before. If you've run in the Pegasus before, I think you're going to love this shoe. I believe this shoe weighs in around 10 ounces. This is a size 11, so it's just a little bit more than that. But a 10-ounce shoe, a 10-millimeter drop. So these things are pretty standard as far as Nike shoes. Like you're pretty much all looking in that. Right around the 10-millimeter drop. I believe the Vaporfly is even an 8-millimeter drop. So when we talk about drop, we're talking about the distance from the heel to the toe. So in this case, when I sit it flat, that is a 10-millimeter offset. For me, I find this to be pretty effective because I usually run I train in something like the Saucony Kinvara, which is a little bit of a lower drop, like a 4-millimeter, 5-millimeter drop. And I find when I put on my racing shoes that have a little bit of a higher drop, I automatically feel like I'm in a more aggressive stance to run in. This is a very fast shoe. I've set a PR for my 5K in this shoe. I set a 5-miler PR in this shoe. It's really fast. It's really, really bouncy. If you've never run in Nikes before, that's, I think, really the game changer element of these is just how much energy return you get. I believe they advertise the shoe as providing 85% energy return. Whenever we start to dive into stuff like these percentages, it gets a little bit too outside the box, in my opinion. What I will say is that these shoes do return a lot of energy. When you run on these, you feel like the shoe is doing a lot of work for you. Bouncy is the word that I use for this. With that said, there's still a ton of ground fill here, especially throughout the midfoot. You really can feel and react and kind of interact with the ground, which is something that I'm looking for. I have run in shoes like Hoka's, which are just like overly cushioned shoes in general. And for me, I start to feel like I'm sliding this way, but B, I feel like it's too much cushion. I lose my ability to feel the ground, which for me is something that I think is really critical to just running well, being able to feel the feet, make sure I'm striking in the midfoot. This is a shoe that really helps me do all that. So with all that said, it's a shoe that I think will work for a lot of people. It's a shoe that I wear probably more than I should. Again, at that $180 price point, I really should probably just wear this for races only. But with that said, last week, for example, I was going for my 1,000 mile in the year. It's the first time I've ever done that. I chose to wear these because I like the shoe that much. It was kind of like one of those special runs for me. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna break out my nice Nike Turbos for this run. It's a shoe that I like that much. I'm basically trying to find myself excuses to wear this shoe. Like I said, it's a really, really good short distance racer. You probably could even go a little bit lighter than this if you wanted, especially if you're in really good shape or if you're running 40, 50 miles a week. 10 ounces is a relatively heavy shoe for a racer, so you could go lighter. With that said, I am planning on wearing this shoe in the upcoming Philadelphia half marathon. It'll be the first half I've worn this shoe for, but it's just a shoe that I respond really, really well to it, and I really, really like the ride experience overall, and that's why I'm going to wear it for my upcoming race. I think ultimately that's what I'm looking for in running shoes. I'm looking for shoes that I'm excited to wear. I'm looking for shoes that are comfortable. I'm looking for shoes that help me run, in my opinion, faster, just more efficiently. And this is a shoe that kind of checks all those boxes. The new Nike Pegasus Turbo 2 is out. I've only worn it for a couple test runs on the treadmill, and it's different. It's definitely lighter. The ride is notably different. I am thinking about buying a pair because I've loved this so much, and as I try to find the Pegasus Turbo online, basically there are a few that I could find online, but at that price point, I'm just going to try the new Pegasus 2, I think, or the Turbo 2 rather. And when I do that, I'll be sure to come back and let you guys know what I think and what some of the differences are. Give it a try, or certainly check out the Pegasus Turbo 2, which just came out, I think probably almost 2 months ago now. And like I said, just continue to follow me here on YouTube and support Run Repeat. I can't speak enough just about Run Repeat and how awesome I think they are. It's the spot I always go to do my shoe research and also just to find the best prices online. So I hope you guys are doing the same thing. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to drop a comment below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.